What is up? Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to give you some tips on company culture. Now, this is something that I have a lot of people come to me and ask me questions on because Total Debt Freedom was recognized as one of the best places in Canada to work. World Blue, most democratic company. It's had a few awards over the years. Now, I've made the mistake of going too far with culture. Now, before I talk about what culture looks like, why don't I show you? Okay, so you've got a bit of an idea. So full disclosure, when I came into the world of entrepreneurship, it happened at 30 years old for me. For about 10 years prior to that, I worked in the collection world. And that was a space where you'd come up in an elevator after lunch and your director or branch manager would be sitting there looking at his watch going, "You're late again, Cooper," and giving you just crap for showing up like a minute late. Like they really rode you hard and they didn't give you a lot in return. It was like 2 weeks vacation. They would kick and scream if you wanted to book vacation. Everything seemed like a major hassle. It was all about the numbers, all about profit margins and their shareholders and blah blah blah. So when I left that world and I became an entrepreneur, one of the things I want to do is really improve the work environment and treat people a lot nicer, give them a lot more, because my theory was if you treated people well, they would treat your clients even better. And I found it to be true. I took some concepts from some speakers that I learned, and I really wanted to get into culture. So what I did was I toured a few companies in Toronto. I saw I Love Rewards, which is now Achievers, Sport and Social Club. I went out to Vancouver, saw 1-800-GOT-JUNK. I've been through Zappos twice now in Las Vegas. So I got a really good idea of what I wanted culture to look like for me. Now, the way that I handle things in my business is with R&D, and it doesn't stand for research and development. It stands for rip off and duplicate. So I take the best elements that I found from company cultures and I apply it to my own business. Now, I did go a little bit too far. So one of the first things that I started with was I basically got my staff together and I said, look, I want to make this place better. I think we were at about 5 or 6 people at that time. And I said, give me a list of things that you'd like to see this company offer you. And they came back with some really batshit crazy stuff. Like, pay for my gas, pay for my 407 bill. The 407 in the GTA area is a toll highway. Meals, entertainment, blah, blah, blah. And then they asked for reasonable things like, instead of 2 weeks vacation, can we have 3 weeks vacation? Can we have, better benefits and things like that? So, once you kind of go through the list, I weeded out the crazy shit. Like, I can't pay for their 407 bill. It's not an expense I can write off on corporate taxes. But what I can do is I can give them more vacation time. So the end result of the tweaks that we did was we let them basically improve the office space by giving them a budget to decorate it and do with things as they wanted. We improved the ergonomics of the office space. I think we spent something like $800 on Herman Miller chairs. They were $800 each. Whereas, I can go to Costco and buy a chair for $150. Headsets so they could walk around, wireless headsets, things like that to really make the space better. We gave them tons more vacation time. We actually doubled it. So when we hired new people, we started them with almost 4 weeks vacation time. Some of that time included anytime days, which they could basically book a day off anytime, any reason, without any prior notice. All they had to do was call in the morning and say, I'm going to use an anytime day today. And they could take that day off to use it for whatever they want. So they want to go to the beach, they want to play golf, do something with their kids. I don't need to know about it. That's your day. Book it off and do what you want with it. So we gave them all this stuff. Now, what started to happen after a while is they would always ask for more. And I started to notice that every time I would give them, 2 or 3 things, for example, I might get one thing back in return. So things started becoming unequal. So you have to be very careful when you design a workspace and an office environment and culture. A business, you have to always remember, a business is about making money. It's not about a charity. It's not about making, widgets and trinkets and stuff that you don't make any money off, or a service where you hold people's hand, to the end result and deliver a ton of value. But what you're getting paid to deliver that value doesn't cover the cost and you lose money. A business, plain and simple, is about making money. If you can't make money while implementing company culture that you see fit, that you're happy with in your business, then you have to take it away. You got to peel back on it. And I had to start doing that. I had to pull back on some of the benefits. One of the things we did, for example, to give you some insight, we did RSP top-ups. And most companies in Canada might top up, I don't know, 3.5%, maybe 2%. Some companies give no top-ups. And all that is if somebody makes $50,000 a year, the company will match a contribution up to, let's say, 3% of their salary as free money. So it's basically free money to the employee. And I put together a plan that was very generous with some investment component to it that I believe paid around 5%, so considerably more than the industry norm. So these are all some of the things that I had to peel back on when I noticed that I was giving the employees a lot of value, but I wasn't getting the same level that I needed to see back in return. So it's a very fine line that you have to walk. You got to be very careful with it. I'm going to leave you with one more tip that I noticed as well. There was this trend that I saw for huddle meetings. And what huddle meetings are was like every day at 10 o'clock, people would get together in a big circle and they'd basically go around the circle and say, well, what are you working on? What went well? What didn't go well? And they'd spend maybe 2 minutes on every person. So when I did some of these tours with some of these companies, I basically stood back and I looked at the forest for the trees. And I would watch them go around telling their updates or their little story about what was happening. And, when you see these videos on company websites, they portray it like, oh, wow, look at the, the company culture and the huddles, and it's such an important thing. But I'm going to be totally honest with you. I was watching their faces as they were going around, and some of them were rolling their eyes like, oh, I got to do this again. They just weren't into it. A lot of them really weren't into it. So implementing a high value company culture or a Zappos style, company culture, it doesn't always work. It's not always the right fit, and it's not necessarily going to deliver the same amount of value to you as an employer as what you give the employees. And it's not always equal. Things will never be equal in that sense, but you have to pay very close attention to it. So that's my wrap on company culture. I could probably go on for ages on it because it's one of the things that I kind of specialize in consulting now. So if you got any questions, throw them in the comments below. Happy to answer them. Thanks for checking out the video, guys. Follow me on Instagram, most active there, Facebook, of course. Thanks for checking it out. Peace. Bye-bye.